Hi, guys. Welcome back to my podcast. Welcome back to Chats with Lindo. My name is Lindos Kosana. Thank you so much for joining me. I truly appreciate it. If you're watching this on YouTube, welcome. If you are listening to this on Spotify, welcome. Thank you so much for coming back to another episode, to another chat, to another conversation. So, you know the rules. Well, it's not really a rule, but you know the drill. Please grab yourself something nice to drink so that we can have this chat together, so that we can have this conversation together. So, today I want to chat about my 30s, right? I just turned 30 a few months ago. I turned 30 in Feb 2025, and let me tell you, I was really scared of what the age brings with, because of society standards, because of society rules. I wasn't sure how my 30s will go, because some of the things that I had said I will acquire at the age of 30, I couldn't even acquire them. Some of the things that I thought I would acquire in my 20s, I couldn't even acquire them. So I didn't really know how to go about navigating my 30s, because again, I was listening to, or I was abiding by society standards. I was just living according to what society needed me to live. So how am I navigating my 30s? What are the things that I've learned until now? I'm not saying for the past few months I've learned those things, but it's what I've learned in my 20s. Now that I'm in my 30s, they make much more sense to instill them. They make much more sense to put that foundation on them. So the first thing is, now my no is strong. Like, if you know me, I used to be a people pleaser. So I used to please people, right? I used to please people so that people can like me. I lived my life performing for people who didn't even like me. I lived my life trying to please people who weren't even pleased with themselves. So I would say yes to things that I was supposed to say no to, or rather to things that I didn't want to do. So now that I'm in my 30s, my no is very strong, right? Also, it's not strong because I don't like the other person on the other end. My no is strong because I like myself. My no is strong because I understand that those who love me, when I say no, they will still love me anyway. My no is strong because I have put in boundaries in place to protect myself, and to also protect those around me, and to protect my relationships a lot. My no is strong because I'm protecting my finances. My no is strong because I'm protecting the environments that I step into, because I don't want to end up agreeing to something that I know that I didn't want to agree to, just because someone forced me to agree to it, or just because someone initiated that and it didn't really sit well with me. So in my 30s, I know it's been a few months, but it's great. You know, I've heard people saying 30 is scary. It's not. I personally feel like 30 is sweet. I feel like my journey in my 30s is going to be so sweet compared to my 20s, because in your 30s, I just feel like you know what you want. You know how your journey should be. You know yourself more. You understand yourself more. You understand what you like, and you understand what you don't like. So if there's one thing that I will push in your 30s, if you are going to be in tune with your 30s, you're going to navigate your life with being in tune with your own life, is say no and see. Because the moment you say no to things that you're uncomfortable with, you're able to see people that are for you, and you're also able to see people that aren't for you, because those who love you, remember, they will still respect your no. Another thing that I have learned in my Listen, I learned this in my 20s, but now that I'm in my 30s, it makes sense, right? So let me just have a sip. I think for me, the thing about surface level relationships, for me, everything is deep. I spoke about it, or I rather speak about it almost in all of my platforms, that it matters to me. Relationships matters to me, right? But I've got to understand that there are certain relationships that needs to be surface level. Like, there are certain relationships that need to be just surface level. The reason why those relationships have to be surface level is because you are required to have those relationships with those people. I'm not going to touch much into the type of relationships. I mean, I think you're old enough to understand which type of relationships that I'm talking about. You'll find yourself in places that you're required to be in, and you're required to have relationships with certain people that you wouldn't really have a relationship with. But I've learned that there are certain relationships that need to be surface level, because if you don't keep it surface level, some people, they love having fun in knowing your business and in telling about how you are suffering or how you are going through it. Some people just enjoy seeing you suffer. So in order for me to protect myself from giving people something to talk about, I would rather keep the relationship surface level, because the environment requires me to keep the relationship to be on a surface level. Granted, it really depends on the environment. I'm not saying I should go around acting on a surface level. Of course, I don't act on a surface level to my friends, right? I don't act on a surface level to my husband. I don't act on a surface level to my parents, because those people mean the world to me, right? But there's certain people that you just have to act or be in a surface level, like relatives. I think relatives is like a perfect relatives is a perfect example of this idea that I'm painting right now. Is there's certain relatives that you really are relatives. You can't really change the fact that you guys will see each other in family functions. You guys will see each other here and there. You guys are part of each other's life, although you're not in each other's faces, but you are part of each other's lives. So there's those relationships that you just need to keep them surface level. Keep them surface level. Although as much as you're keeping them surface level, I feel like not also allowing disrespect, because sometimes we think keeping something surface level, we don't voice out when something does not sit well with you. I think for me, I also, as much as I'm keeping things surface level, I check myself when I'm wrong, and I check myself when the other person how the other person rather made me feel. So if they didn't make me feel okay, I voice it out. But it also depends on who you're talking to, because again, I believe that we're all raised differently. Some people will not receive well your concerns, because sometimes they are self-centered. They're too focused on themselves. They forget about maybe what they can say that might seem right in their eyes might not seem right in another person. So I have learned to keep things on a surface level when I need to, because again, I'm retaining my energy. There's so much energy that I carry, and I'm a creative. I need to create on my personal level. So when I'm in environments where I know that, listen here, I'm not going to give too much of my energy, because it leaves me drained, it leaves me exhausted. So yeah, that's another aspect that I've always known, but I didn't think it through. But now that I'm in my 30s, it makes much more sense. Another thing that I have learned, I've always known these things, you probably have known them too, right? But is being long-term focused, right? That short-term comfort sometimes impacts the long term. I've learned that I shouldn't be comfortable with being excited at the moment when I know that in the long run it has implications. Like my husband and I have started this thing of walking together, right? Before I would walk by myself, listen to a podcast, walk by myself. And look, it really worked for me in that season. But right now I'm in a season of getting to know myself more with my husband and getting to know my husband more with me. So having to walk together, it's something that I enjoy in the short term, but in the long term, it will benefit my health, it will benefit his health, and it will also benefit our relationship. There's so many things to it. Like, I remember in school, they used to say, if you don't do your homework on Friday, then on Monday, you know that you're probably going to suffer because you were supposed to do your homework on Friday. But if you're doing it later on, then now you're panicking, you have anxiety, you are suffering because you decided to entertain short-term entertainment. So I've got to understand that long-term entertainment sometimes has short-term entertainment sometimes has long-term implications. That's why I also went back to going full throttle and reading, because I knew that it's not nice to read. Some people don't enjoy reading. I do. Sometimes I don't enjoy it, but I know that in the long term, it will benefit me in how I articulate myself, in how I hold conversation. It will also benefit me with my personal career as someone who speaks with people. So I know that as much as it might not be fun now, I want to have a glass of wine, I want to scroll on my phone, but instead I would rather read because I know that it will benefit me in the long term. Make sense? Yeah. So I hope I did unpack it in a way that you also understand it. Another thing that I have learned is I got to understand that it is okay to not being liked. It is okay to not being liked. I was listening to a creator this morning, and she said, some people have different versions of you. Like, my colleagues have a different version of me. My husband has a different version of me. My parents have a different version of me. My children in future will have a different version of who mommy is. My friends have a different version of me. I also have a different version of me, because that's the version that I have created, and that's the version that they have created in their heads as well. So I've got to understand that it's really okay to not being liked by relatives, by people that you really don't have a close relationship with, because they've created a different version in their head of who you really are. My 30s are teaching me, and I mean, I've always known that, but my 30s are teaching me to be okay with the fact that if someone says, hey, or even if they're vocal about it, and it's really not nice to be vocal about it, to say, hey, I don't like you. But if someone says, hey, I don't like you, it shouldn't affect me that much, because I understand who I am. I understand my value. I understand the value rather that I carry. So I'm okay with not being liked. Before, it used to bother me. If someone doesn't like me, it used to really bother me, and I'll be like, oh my goodness, what did I do to this person? I mean, as much as I'm saying it's okay to not being liked, I'm not coming here and I'm not saying I'm gonna go around hurting people's feelings and not taking accountability. I'm not gonna do that, right? I'm not gonna do that. I'll do my best. I'll treat people right. But if someone decides that, listen, I don't like her, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that, as long as we can coexist if we have to, as long as we can occupy the same space without stepping on each other's toes. I'm really okay with that. So that's another aspect that I'm holding on to more, and I think it's I'm unaware when I'm acting in that form. Sometimes I'll tell myself, I'll say, okay, today I need to regulate myself. I need to know when I'm overstimulated. I need to read the room. I need to read the energy. But I feel like now that I'm more aware of my own life, I'm aware of the people around me. And I've always also noticed that the ones that have created a distorted version of me in their heads, or rather the ones that don't like me, are the ones that are also surface level. I feel like those are usually people, those people that are constantly laughing. Like, we have those people that are constantly laughing. They make you open up, but they don't open up. And if they do open up, they open up about something that's also surface level. So yeah, be wary of such people. And sometimes I feel like they want you closer to them so they can know about you. So yeah, I've learned that it's fine, man. If I'm not liked, it is what it is. It's really not going to change the price of bread. Another one that I have always known, but I'm learning it now over and over again. Remember, I feel like life is a journey of learning, right? It doesn't end here. Tomorrow I may come on here with a different perspective. That is okay, because my neurons are always creating different pathways. So another one that I have learned is I can change as many times as I want. And as a high in compliant person, or rather a person who's firm, rigid, I don't like changing my mind, right? If this is that, I need this to be that until. But now I've learned to be okay with change. I've also given myself permission to change. I've given myself permission to change my mind about people. Sometimes I'll find myself in situations where I think I like a person, and then they show me a different side, and I'm like, oh, I still like them, but I'd rather have them in a distance. I'm allowed to change my mind about anything. I'm allowed to change my mind about my career. I'm allowed to change my mind about my personal goals. I am allowed to change my mind about anything pertaining my life, because at the end of the day, it's my life to live. I will have to account for it when I meet my Father. So I'm okay with change. I'm okay with change. I'm embracing change. I am learning to live with change. And in addition to that, I also got to learn that rejection is redirection. I'm not sure who probably needs to hear this. Rejection is redirection. Sometimes you have to be rejected in the direction that you wanted, so you can move to the direction that God wants you to move to. And I'm also okay with that. There's so many cases where I felt rejected in so many areas of my life, and I was like, oh, okay, I'm getting rejected here. I'm also getting rejected here. But now that I look back, I'm able to connect the dots. I'm able to see that, oh, it makes sense. I understand why I had to be rejected for this particular thing, because God was cooking something better. So as I get rejected, and rejection is part of life. I think another thing that we do not normalize, especially us in our 30s, or even if you're in your 30s or 40s, wherever you are, is rejection is part of the process of being. Rejection is part of your journey on this earth. People get more rejected than they were successful. That's how success is. And just to add on that, failure is also part of the process. It's something that we were not taught growing up, that failing should happen. We associated failing as the end of the world. We associated failing as, oh, it's done now. it's done. You need to cancel yourself. Failing is actually part of the process. Okay, let me give you guys a practical example that I feel like I actually failed. So I started going live on TikTok last week, right? I started going live on TikTok last week, and in my head, I thought I will go live on TikTok every day at 8 o'clock. I even went live, told my people, I said, listen, I am going to come on here every day, 8 we meet. Right. So I did it on Sunday, last week Sunday, after I shot my podcast. I just wanted to see how it would go. And it went pretty well because I wanted to also learn how to navigate around the live video. So I saw that, okay, cool, it works well. Monday comes, I am exhausted, I'm from work. Now I'm thinking, I need to walk, I need to read, I need to eat, there's so much to do. I need to think, I need to reflect. And I thought of, okay, cool, now I need to go live. Because I am an A type of a person, I want to do what I said I am going to do. I went live, right? So it went well. I went live and it went well. Then, even when I ended the live, I said to my people, I said, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Same place, same time, thinking I can do it again. I slept around 9:30. When I woke up in the morning for work, I felt like I have been hit by a truck. I felt like I have been hit by a truck because it was Monday and there are so many activities that I do on Monday alone. Adding the live video a day before, I didn't think it works, or rather I don't think it works for the season that I'm in. And I feel like, okay, cool, I have failed, but it doesn't mean that I will not try again in future when my schedule allows. So it's okay. Failure is part of the process. Failing in a job is part of the process. Failing in school is part of the process. Failing in a business, in a relationship, in a friendship. Failure is part of the process. The people that understand that are the people that can see beyond failure, that okay, it's the thing that failed. It's not me who has failed. And yeah, that is what I have been learning in rather instilling in my 30s. I've always known these things. You probably know them too. But I've got to understand that, listen, everything makes sense now that I'm in my 30s. I'm not living to please people. I understand that everything that I do today will impact me in the next few years. I remember I used to like saying in varsity that in the next 10 years from today, right? From today, in the next 10 years, we will see who was working now and who wasn't working. We will see who was actually doing what. So how are we using our time now? Because we'll only get to see in the next 10 years. So when I'm 40, you guys will actually get to see how I spend my 30s by the quality of my life. Right? Could be finances, my emotions, my spirituality, everything we'll get to see then. And I think we'll also get to see everybody who's around us, what they have been doing the past few years in their lives. So yeah, that's what I have been learning and instilling, and it makes sense now. And I think another thing that I would like to remind anyone, whether you're in your mid-30s, wherever you are in life right now, is it's not a race. It's not a race. It's not, this life thing is not a race. It's not a let's see who gets the first. It's not a race. It's all about each and every day. What do you do with the day that has been given to you? How do you use today? How do you use today? And whatever that you do today will definitely impact you in the future. And in conclusion, I saw a video on TikTok. I can't really recall the creator, and the creator said the generation today is stuck in or rather he said you can't really break generational curses while you are trying to please a generation that is also cursed. So why are we living our lives to please a generation that is also cursed? But yet we're saying we are breaking generational curses. I had to think about that. I had to introspect. I had to really dive deep. I'm still thinking about it. Why would we please a generation that is cursed while we are trying to break generational curses? So, yeah, that's my chat for today. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it lands on fertile soil. I hope you water it, because sometimes we listen to a message and we actually don't reflect. We don't water it. We don't practice it. I'm including myself, because sometimes I've always known all of these things, but I'm only practicing them now. It's only making sense now that I'm in my 30s, but there isn't any rush. Okay, wherever you are, it's okay. Life gets better. I can promise you, if you are younger than me, I can promise you that life gets better. It is going to be okay. All right. I love you so much. I love you. Thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Please comment down below. Comment down below. Let me know what if you're in your 30s or in your 40s or in your 50s or 20s, let me know what is it that you have always known, but now it makes sense, right? I love you. I'll see you in the next episode. Mwah. Bye.